Hello, I'm back. Today I'm going to talk about 17.5 Blinky racing because that's what I do. So here in my country, in the Philippines, for on-road, the most popular class, or sometimes I think the only class left, is 17.5 Blinky. So last night I raced. I haven't done so in a long while, and I came fourth in the A main. Slightly disappointed, but you know, I haven't raced in a long time, so all good. Alright, so let me just give you the breakdown on how much it's going to cost to get into this, you know, fun and exciting hobby. Money is relative, so we're going to start with cheap, mid-range, and ultimate expensive. You know, no compromise, the best equipment you can buy to race in the 17.5 Blinky class. So, alright. First thing is, let me give you the cost. You know, let's get it over with. Alright, let's get the pain over with. Here, this is my cheapest racing car. It's a Sakura Zero. Car's around 250 bucks. You know, but then you need to buy electronics, tires, bodies, chargers, you know, transmitters. All this add up to around, let's say, $700. That's already relatively cheap, you know, to get started. It is what it is. Racing is, you know, it's not really that cheap. But for touring car, it's, yes, a little on the high end, but you know, it's fun. So $700 is probably the starting point. It's cheap, and it will give you, you know, for if you're a beginner or your skill level on 1 to 10 is around, let's say, up to 7, this is good enough. Good enough, you know. It's enough to the car will be better than your driving capability. If you're level on a, and if you're a C main or a B main driver, depending on the size of quality of your club drivers, this is good enough for now for you. So until you can get to be a better driver, don't spend too much money yet. Yeah. All right. Now this one is my mid-range. Mid because it has slightly better equipment, electronics, and a much better chassis. This is, you know, one of the latest when I bought it. It's an X-Ray 2018. So X-Ray is the 2018 world champion in touring cars. So this is no slouch. If you can see, it's already very different in terms of, it looks the same, but it's better. You know, it's lighter than this car. It's has a lower center of gravity. The geometry is a little better. So it's the flex, the suspension, just gives a better corner speed than this car. This one is double the cost of this one. So if this is 700, this is around 1,400 USD. Now, what's the difference in lap times? So this one will do me 11.6 seconds per lap. This one will do 11.3 seconds per lap. So it's around, if let's say, it's around a 3% or 4% improvement. Now, you might say that's not a lot, but in racing, even 1% is big enough for you to win or lose. So, yeah. Or be in the A main, B main, or C main. It depends. So, you know, we can relatively say 3% improvement, but the cost is double. So I have to spend 100% increase in cost just to realize a gain of 3% on the track. This doesn't sound right. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. It's, what are we doing in this hobby? How are we going to get more people in if it just gets too expensive to compete sometimes, you know? But, you know, it is what it is. You know, there are cheaper classes to race, that's granted, but in 17.5 Blinky, this is the world. This is the reality of how it is. All right. So mid-range is 1,400. Now, once you this is good for people with skill levels of, I would say, 8, 9, and 10. You know, these are really, if you're consistently making the A main and you're consistently keeping up with the top guys with this equipment, with top guys using this equipment, then maybe you will go faster with this equipment. Okay, so if you feel you're stuck and that you're just not able to keep up with the fast guys, you're down by 0.3 of a second per lap on an 11-second track lap, you know, then maybe it is the equipment that's keeping you down. You need to spend more or find a sponsor, which is what I did yesterday. Luckily, very luckily, you know, the local distributor of Osomatics was kind enough to lend one of their best, you know, setup cars for my daughter to race in, to drive. So this is really, you know, what my daughter uses. I've given her you know, someone also sponsored her this X-ray chassis with batteries and motors. So you know, it is expensive. I'm able to do it because someone is helping sponsor. So thank you to the sponsors, the kind souls who are pushing to help my daughter, you know, enjoy the hobby more, because she's pretty good driving, but the equipment is sometimes letting her down, not allowing her to reach her full speed. All right, so this one I drove it last night compared to this car, and after driving this car, I never want to drive this car again. It is that different. You know, the lap time is not that big. So if this was 11.6, this is 11.3, this would do an 11-second lap. So this one to this one is around 3% difference in lap times, 3% faster. Over a course of 5 minutes, that's almost like one lap, you know. So that is still a big difference, 0.3 in our short track. So what's the difference? Okay, let me show you the difference. Chassis-wise, Osomatics, X-ray, equal, more or less equal in terms of slightly more expensive pricing, but these are the latest. You know, it's about setup. If you can set this one up correctly and this one up correctly, it will give similar performance. So it's not necessarily the chassis that's, you know, in terms of price difference. Oh, I forgot. The price of this one is 2,400 USD. Oh gosh. So if this is like 1,400, 700, 1,400, 2,400. So where is that extra $1,000 expense going to come from? What's, you know? Well, here it is, the electronics. This is where you get more speed. Not necessarily the motor, okay? To get a better handling car, you need the fastest servo response you can get. Meaning, when you move your hand, the steering must move instantaneously, as close to instantaneously as you can get it. Forget the numbers, 10 milliseconds, 8 milliseconds latency. Forget it. Forget it. You know, you might say it makes no difference. On the track, when you drive the car, it makes a difference. Trust me. I have experienced it. It makes a difference. Now, how big? Very big. It, you know, okay. I'm using pretty good equipment here. I'm using Sanwa MT4 with the Futaba 9550. It was pretty good. This one is using the Sanwa with the SSR high-speed mode with the latest M17 transmitter, and they're using like this very fast, you know, very fast signaling. So what happens is, there is slight delay here. When I turn, the car is sluggish to turn into the corner, even though it's set up correctly. It's very well tuned, it's set up. But when you turn, yes, it looks like it's safe, but compared to this car, when you turn, this will give you the servo response so fast, it makes the car turn into the corner. It gives you the turn-in steering. Then proper lean, proper roll to finish the corner. Whereas when you turn here, and there's a slight delay, not noticeable, but yes, it is noticeable compared to this car, but it's fast. But then you will feel the car not want to turn in immediately. Understeer. And you might think, I need to change spring, roll bar, setup. No. What might be the problem is the servo is not fast enough to initiate that initial steering into the corner. Alright, so this one is super fast. So when you drive it, this car feels so nimble, so responsive. Everything is so connected to your hands, and that means it's easier to drive. It's easier to make it do as you wish. And that's where the speed is coming from. Partially. So get the best radio you can, but that is expensive. That this Sanwa M17, the latest, is so expensive. How much was it? It's can't remember, right? It's around $500 above. Then you get the best servo, and that's like, a lot of money as well. Double the price of this servo. Controller is like triple the price of this controller. And then you get a better ESC. So I have here the original Hobbywings, when Hobbywing was selling cheap ESCs a long time ago. Quality but cheap. And now these are the latest versions. World Championship Hobbywing X Pro, X10 Pro. But it's also like 3 times the cost of this one. Hobbywing, you're no longer cheap. Yeah, so Hobbywing is now the premium equipment manufacturer. They started off cheap value, and now they're like one of the more expensive. Good quality, but the price is also expensive, so they're not the same anymore. Sadly, but it is what it is. And we go down the list. So buy a faster servo, buy the fastest controller. The best is Sanwa. Futaba lovers, it fits your hand well. You think it's good. It's not comparable to Sanwa, please. I am not sponsored by Sanwa or Futaba or anyone, but I buy Sanwa. Everyone knows. On-road racers know Sanwa is the best. Try it. That's all it is. Try the speed. You will notice the difference between a Futaba and a Sanwa. On a very fast moving car, when you turn it, you will notice the latency. Yeah, that's all I can say. Don't hate on me. I have lots of Futaba controllers in my closet. I have like 10, 20, But that's past. Past is past. I used to think Futaba was good as well. But Sanwa is what it is. That's why all the A-main racers, professionals on touring cars are on Sanwa. It's the best. You cannot live without it on touring cars, for me. Alright, so enough plug for Sanwa. Sanwa, are you gonna sponsor me? No, so I'm not sponsored by anyone except kind souls who donate, lend me equipment to run, or for my daughter to run. Alright, motor. So here I'm using I either use much more Fleta or R1 Works. They're good. They're similar performance. So this one is Trinity certified. Alright, it's a Trinity Monster Max certified, and this is the fastest in our racetrack. High torque. Alright, so from what I'm told, high torque is king. You can always lower the FDR to get the proper speed down the straight, but you will still get the correct punch out of the corner. High torque motors will always beat an RPM motor on any track, small or large, is what I understand. So some will say get RPM motor for high speed. Yeah, but high speed track, you still have corners to exit, right? You still need the torque to exit. So high torque, just gear it lower. You will get the straight line speed on the straight, but still get the torque exiting the corner. High torque, Trinity Monster Max, this is expensive stuff. You know, the certified versions, like $170. Wow! Versus like R1 Works is like maybe 110. And my Surpass, which I order online cheaply, is like $40. So $40 motor, $110 motor, $170 motor. So that's where the expenses come. Then you need, but that's not all. Sorry, that's not all. You want to win, you're a good driver and you want to win, you need new tires. Even for club races in my area, in my local track here where I raced last night, club racing, new tires. Those who win put on new tires. The best drivers put new tires because that's the level of competition. New tires will probably give 0.1 or 0.2 per lap depending on the condition versus an old tire. Tires already make a big difference. Then plus, you know, the best drivers with the best equipment also have many bodies, you know, different handling bodies. So this is the older LTCR, which has now been replaced by the Protoform Type S. But then at the same time, for tuning, if you want more steering, you need to cut this out and mount the body more forward. Okay? So, you know, you need different bodies. You can have a body mounted like 4 mm forward. If you want more steering, you mount it 12 mm forward, really forward, to give more downforce. And, you know, you need more bodies. And then when you crash, you need to replace it, you know. So bodies are expensive, tires are expensive. You also need traction compound, the thing you put on the tires to make it grip better. Everything, even the chargers. So there are high-powered chargers that cost hundreds of dollars. They can pump lots of amps and voltage into the battery versus a cheap charger that can only charge at 5 amps. And then of course you have cheap batteries and strong batteries. And so that's where we are in touring cars, 17.5. And we wonder why we're losing racers or no one is joining, the hobby's not growing. Well, if this is like 17.5 Blinky class and it's, you know, already, to enter the game you need $700. You know, plus running costs of maintaining the car, broken parts, race fees. Yeah, so it's not really, that's a big problem that the industry will have to do, I guess. Make it more affordable. This is just getting out of hand sometimes. So from 700 entry, you become a good driver, you think you buy the latest chassis will be good enough for you with your old equipment, electronics, decent electronics. You get to 1,400. But you realize you're still off by 3/10, 4/10 to the winners, the best guys. Then you realize their electronics are so double, triple the cost of what you're running. Their car is responding so much better to their inputs. It's more drivable, it's more powerful, has better steering because of the electronics. Plus, they spend a lot on tires, bodies, chargers, batteries, even batteries, you know. Some say just use one battery, charge it all. Nah, in our race, you know, we're like, yeah, no. Fresh batteries are better in Blinky. You know, maybe in mod it's okay. Blinky, you need good batteries as well. Alright, so I'm talking about technical difference on the car, irregardless of your driving skill. We're not talking about a fast driver can get the same lap times as a crappy driver if the crappy driver drives a good car, fast driver drives a slow car. No. I'm talking about same driving skill. If a fast driver drives this, and this, the winning driver of a race drives this, he will drive this at 11.6, 11.3, 11 flat. That's the way it is. That's the difference in things. So if you want to increase double the cost from 700 to 1,400, you're going to increase by 3 to 4% on your speed. And then to get that last 3 to 2% difference between you and the winner, you spend another $1,000 or almost 40% more to get that performance. Yeah, but that's racing. So full scale racing, that's more expensive than this cheap racing. Yeah, so it's a hobby, expensive one, relatively. Depends. It's for me, it can be cheap because if people sponsor, help us out, help me and my daughter out, then yeah, thank you to them. Helps us continue racing. But for the new guy off the street who wants to get into racing, and you tell them $700, and that will be like 6-7% off the pace. It's a hard sell. So guys, what are your thoughts? I don't know. There's no solution, I guess. Manufacturers figure it out. Otherwise, you keep raising the level of performance, but no one is racing anymore. So you're going to die as well. So find a good balance of cost versus happiness and so on, for us to race with. You keep releasing new, better equipment. And so it just discourages us with, a certain amount of equipment to keep competing. We go, what's the point? I cannot just keep spending money just to go 1, 2, 3 times faster, right? Eventually, it's just the expense is too much to keep up. It's becoming a money cost battle rather than skill battle sometimes. Some good drivers are no longer able to show their skill because they have no funds to continue the hobby. I think I've been talking for quite a while, so let me sign off. This is rccartips. Thank you again for listening. Leave a comment if you want. Let me know. Give a like. I have other videos where I also talk about things. And later I'll do a comparison between the X-Ray and the Automatic on a chassis level. If you want to know which one is better. Alright. Thank you very much. Bye.